Hello, everybody. Today we are doing top 5 and shows and movies. So last year I did top 10 movies of 2024, but I feel like mixing it up and talking about my favorite things of 2024. So a lot of things didn't really come out 2024. Well, they did, but I felt like I could have saw a lot more. But we did see some great stuff that came out. Some stuff were pushed back because of the actors' strike, but now that's over. So now we can talk about our favorite 2024 things, and we're going to review it probably starting next week with my movie reviews of 2024. So yeah, we're going to go on with shows. So my fifth favorite show of 2024 is The Bad Batch, Season 3. So I've already reviewed The Bad Batch. I think it's a great season overall. I felt like each episode was very consistent with itself. There were probably maybe just one episode that was kind of dull, but overall I think it's been setting up a great finale towards the clones, and they get to finally have their freedom. And I'm surprised spoilers, they did not bring back Tech. We thought he was going to come back in the show, but nope. His sacrifice is permanent. But we get a lot of good moments where with the Batch themselves. We see Crosshair go back to the good guy's side, and he joins the Batch, and they learn to get along. And we get that one episode where all the clones team up on a little mission. So that's pretty nice. And the finale was really good, where they rescue all the clones who were sent to that prison with the help of Omega, and the rest of the Batch who help stop Hemlock, who's been trying to use Omega for Palpatine's little project. But the show ends very nicely, and so yeah, that's why I really like The Bad Batch. I don't know what's next for Star Wars animation. I don't know if it'll be in this Clone Wars style, but we'll have to wait and see whatever they announce. I know they did Tales of the Empire. That was okay, but The Bad Batch was definitely a lot of fun. So, and we also got Ventress, though, so yeah, that was pretty good, too. Next is Cobra Kai Season 6. So I've never talked about Cobra Kai. I always wanted to talk about Cobra Kai, but I just never got around to it. But Cobra Kai is a show I really like. Each season has always blown me away. It's just really that good with what they do with the kids and Johnny, Daniel. It's either characters are joining this tribe, that tribe. But this time, our characters are going to the Seikai Taikai. And I know this season hasn't finished yet. It's only been part 1 and part 2. But it's really good, and you have to go see it. It's on Netflix. Part 2 got really intense. I won't spoil it, but you definitely got to check it out. But it makes me wonder, how is the show going to end? How are they going to set up the next Karate Kid movie, which they announced and showed a trailer to with Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan both teaming up. So it could be really fun what they're going to do with it. So it was definitely an intense season for sure. Maybe I'll talk about Cobra Kai one day. I just don't know when. But next is My Adventures with Superman. So I wish I could have included Batman Caped Crusader, but unfortunately I was only able to see one episode since it was on Freevee. It only had that episode. But My Adventures with Superman was definitely a great show. I saw it on Adult Swim, since even though I don't have Max. My Adventures with Superman is a really fun show, colorful show. It has an anime style, and we got Jack Quaid as Superman. He's really good as Superman. He's got that Superman voice that I really enjoy. And this time, he meets Kara, Supergirl. And she is actually working with Brainiac this season, but then she eventually turns good and then joins Superman in the fight against Brainiac. And it was really intense. Brainiac was definitely not what I was expecting this season. We also saw Lex Luthor finally. His character was interesting. But it all wrapped up nicely, and season 3 is going to go I hope it goes really well and we get a nice relationship between Superman and Lois. I wanted to talk about My Adventures of Superman, but like I said, I just not really had the time to review it. But maybe we will if they do season 3. They did announce it, but they showed concept art for what looks like it could be the Reign of Superman. So it looks like we could be getting Doomsday. I don't know. But so far, My Adventures of Superman is definitely an underrated show in my opinion, and you gotta go check it out. Even if you're not the biggest Superman fan, it's definitely it shows that it's a great year for Superman. Since we're actually gonna get David Cornsweet's Superman, we also got this Superman. And I like at the end where Lois is said to go to Gotham, so we might see Batman in the show. The creators said, one of the producers says they're not going to have Batman in the show. They could be lying. Even if Batman doesn't show up, it's okay. This show's about Superman. But next is X-Men 97. Okay, this show was amazing. Because it's like a big love letter to X-Men. So if you're a hardcore X-Men fan, you're definitely going to love this show. It is easily intense, very unexpected with their twists and turns with this show. It reaches us to our limits in this show, and the animation is really smooth, really good, and the voice cast is really good too. And easily what I was not expecting how bloody it got. Like, there are some bloody scenes in this show that, this show, in the animated, the original, it did have a lot of action and some darker themes, but this time they reached their limits with this show. But we get a bunch of good character arcs with like Cyclops, Storm. We get Magneto, and we even see the return of Charles Xavier. But you can go check out my review of X-Men 97. Check it out. But next, for number 1 favorite show of this year, Ted. So, yeah, I've already talked about the Ted show. Ted was really good. It was really funny. And it was a prequel, yes. But it really worked. It honestly made me think it's a little bit better than the Ted movies, because I felt more connection with the family and Ted. But I'm really surprised they're doing a season 2, because this was originally supposed to just be a miniseries, but because the show did really good, they're going to do a season 2. And it makes me wonder, what are they going to do with it? We're going to see John's senior year? Are we going to see more of Blair and her college life? Or what are we going to see Ted do? Could we see Donnie in the show? Probably not, since Ted doesn't meet Donnie till the first Ted movie. But we could also see John get his car, so there's endless speculation. But the stuff with, like, Ted and John going through their usual antics was really funny. And there's just a lot of Family Guy references or Family Guy plot lines that are similar to each other in this show. But that's not really necessarily nitpick, but it really depends if you like Seth MacFarlane, if you like his projects. If you don't, then you're probably not going to like the Ted show or even the Ted movies. But Ted was definitely the top show for me. But next we go on to movies. So I tried to see a lot of movies this year, but some I didn't really have the time to go see in theaters. But I'm definitely going to include them on the list. But so far we got Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire. So this movie was a lot of fun. I don't think it's as good as Ghostbusters Afterlife, because that one felt like a big tribute to Ghostbusters. This movie kind of exists to continue the franchise with our newer Ghostbuster characters, and it was a lot of fun. But my only disappointing aspect of this movie was I thought the finale could have been a little bit longer, since it kind of just is not really what I was expecting. But overall, I think it's a very fun movie. Paul Rudd was easily the best part in this movie, and also the other people in this movie, they're pretty good. And we even see the original cast come back in this movie with Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson. They're good as always. So yeah, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, fun movie. Next is Inside Out 2. I mentioned this in my most anticipated movies, but Inside Out 2 was definitely a fun movie. I don't think it's as good as the first one, but it was definitely still really good. and explores Riley when she's a teenager and going to hockey camp. And we see her go through anxiety. And we have to see the emotions go on a little journey to get back to headquarters. And I like how this time they actually come together in this to finally fix Riley. Because in the last movie, it was just joy and sadness. This time, all the emotions get to come together to stop anxiety. So it explores a lot of stuff that we go through when we're teenagers ourselves. So yeah, Inside Out 2, fun movie. Next is Beetlejuice. So, yeah, if you loved the first movie, you're probably going to like this movie. It's wild that they took 30 years to finally do a sequel to this franchise. And I gotta say, it was a lot of fun. And the best part was Jenna Ortega. For obvious reasons. She was the great part. But also, like, Winona Ryder is really good as Lydia Dietz, returning to that character. And Michael Keaton is really good as Beetlejuice, as always. He's got that funniness in his voice, and he still looks great in the Beetlejuice makeup. And there's a lot of creepiness to it, to Tim Burton's art style of movie filmmaking. It's still all there. But there was only one disappointing aspect of Beetlejuice. It's where like, there was the Frankenstein lady in this movie. Like, she could have been explored a lot more. But overall, I think this is a very fun movie for sure. I saw it with my friends. So, yeah, I can't wait to talk about this movie in the review. So, the next one's kind of going to be a little iffy. But it's the Crisis on Infinite Earths trilogy. So, yeah, you're probably wondering why not pick another movie they're much better movies than the DC animated movies. But I gotta say, I really enjoyed Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1. Part 2 was Part 3 was it was good. But it's kind of sad that these DC animated movies are kind of just rushed because they're trying to move on to the DCU. But it tries to follow the story of Crisis, and I think it does a decent job at it. The first part's about, like, the Flash going through various moments of his life, but even during the crisis, and shows how he sacrificed himself to save everybody. So that part was really interesting. Part 2 kind of just is like a movie that kind of just wants to set up the third Crisis movie. Like, it explores Supergirl, Psycho Pirate, and then eventually get to the Crisis, and it kind of just makes the movie confusing, and because it kind of just jumps a lot. But the third part is pretty straightforward, with a lot of fun stuff, and we get the final performance of Kevin Conroy as the Batman. So that was really good. I can't wait to talk about it. I might do a review with the Hedgehog Nerd if he's down. I really want to discuss it with him. So this is definitely a movie I'm looking forward to talk about, going more in depth. So yeah, look forward to that. But the very obvious number one movie for me was Deadpool and Wolverine. This is the most fun I've had in a movie theater in a while, since the MCU's been taking a little break because they've been putting out too many projects. I said last year I wasn't as getting into Marvel because there's so much Marvel out there. But it's getting better. It can definitely show. I hope the next few MCU movies are going to be really good. But this movie is like a love letter to the Fox Marvel movies. We see Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman returning as Wolverine. And their dynamic is perfect in this movie. And it had a really good emotional finale. Yeah, we get a bunch of fan service. But it's fun to get fan service. For sure. But Deadpool and Wolverine, you definitely got to check out. If you're a huge X-Men fan, a Deadpool, Wolverine fan. And it has a good soundtrack too, and a fun story. Overall, I think it's definitely a lot more fun than the other Deadpool movies. Not that those ones are bad, of course not. The Deadpool movies are awesome, but this one's also really fun as well. So those are my top 5 movies and shows. I'm going to do most anticipated movies and shows of 2025, just like I did last year. So look forward to that. So with that being said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.